I'm going to give you another quite famous example in our field. Some of you probably know this one. This one is on mugs. This was an experiment where half the students in a room were given mugs. The class started, and we randomly just decide, okay, the line's going to be here. We're going to give you half mugs, and you half get no mugs. And we say, okay, great. What just happened? We have a potential market here. The people who have the mugs, how much are you willing to sell the mugs for? And the people who don't have the mugs, how much are you willing to buy the mugs for? Knowing that 5 minutes ago, neither group had mugs. So what happened in this scenario? The people who had the mugs valued them at twice the amount that the people who didn't have the mugs, right? All of a sudden, even though 5 minutes ago I didn't have any mug, but I just gave you this random mug, here you go, and now all of a sudden you're like, ooh, this is mine. I don't want to give this up. There's something about it, this sense of ownership that increases the value, right? Let me give you a more personal example of this one. How many know about the tenting at Duke and Duke basketball? Any Duke basketball fans or haters in the room? It's one or the other, right? There's always, it's kind of polarizing. So at Duke, for those of you who don't know, basketball is an intense, it's an intense part of the experience. Duke is generally does very well, sometimes competes in the championships, and has also won the championships. And one of the things that plays off on this frenzy for basketball is that not all of the students fit into the stadium. So what does this mean? Usually what you have to do is get up early in the morning, stand in line, and you get this bracelet that says, yes, you waited in line, and then when the game time comes in the evening, you get into the game, okay? But toward the end of the season, that doesn't work. There's too many people who want to go. It's way too exciting. So there's this tenting out process, and it's all regimented, and there's all these rules around it. It's crazy. This is a university where you're supposed to be going to study, and yet tenting just kind of dominates everything. So what you do is you have to camp out in these tents and wait, and there's this whole rule, one person at all times must be in the tent 24 hours, 10 people to a tent. There's all these rules around it, and you tent out, you run to class, you create this whole schedule with your friends, and it's quite a process. And then from here, all the people who tent, there's a lottery process on top of that as to who will get tickets to the final games, right? And so the question here is, so the original group of everyone who tents, you've already self-selected the people who really want to go. And that's why Duke basketball, by the way, is such a crazy experience, because everyone who's in that stadium is like a rabid fan. There's no people who are like, yeah, I kind of didn't have anything else to do. I want to go to the game. There's none of that, right? There's all these intense people. So the people who've tented we've pre-selected for everyone who really cares about this and who really wants to go. And then there's a lottery on top of that. Some people win the lottery, and some people don't. So the question is, if we do an exchange here of the people who won the lottery, again, everyone tented, people who won versus lost, how much do you think they're willing to sell or buy if you lost the lottery? How much are you willing to sell or buy the experience for? What do we think happens? $166 I'm willing to spend to buy versus $2,400 to sell. Well, that's much more than double, which in the double scenario that we saw in the mug. And why is this? So there's this sense of ownership, but we take it even further, because once you've won, your mind is going crazy, right? You're thinking about, oh my gosh, this is how I'm gonna paint my face all blue, and this is my Duke t-shirt that I'm gonna wear, and this is, I'm gonna do these cheers at the game. So you've already played out this whole scenario in your head. Whereas if you're on this side of the losing people, and again, these people were just intense. They just tented out for weeks, right? They have already kind of started being like, oh, sour grapes, right? I didn't really want to go that much anyway, no, right? This is a very extreme difference here. Let me tell you, so that's the question of ownership, call it endowment effect, right? And how when we own something, we value it more.